I can't wait to look at the important part Judas played in the Easter story one day with my grandkids. Judas let his love for money be bigger than his love for Jesus. Hey Kids Planet, it's me, Hannah, and I'm ready to dive into another part of the Easter story. Do you know where we are right now? We're at one of the New Mexico courthouses in Albuquerque.
Hannah, is that you? Thank goodness, it took me forever to find you. So, why are we here and what does the courthouse have to do with Easter anyways?
Well, Vince, I was trying to get to that.
Oh, sorry. You do you.
Courthouses are where judges decide which criminals go to jail these days. But in the Bible, things worked a little differently. Today we're going to talk about a man named Pilate who is a Roman governor. He was the one who chose to crucify Jesus on the cross.
Sorry, Hannah. Technically, the Jewish people chose to crucify Jesus.
I know that, Vince! I have to get to that part of the story! I wouldn't have invited you if I knew you were going to ruin all the surprises!
Oh, yeah, anything sounds bad when you say it with that attitude.
Oops.
You know what, Vince? I'm just going to go home and work on more of my eggs and finish Pilate's story in peace! Pilate plays such an interesting part in the Easter story, and I can't wait for the chance to tell my grandkids about it one day. Hopefully they don't interrupt my terrific story like some people.
They probably will.
So, do you guys remember Pilate? We talked about him a little bit the last time you were here. Well, Pilate was a Roman governor, and his part of the Easter story comes into play when Jesus was arrested in the garden.
After the kiss of betrayal.
Yes, Matthew. But we didn't talk about what Jesus had to say to the guards, though. What do you think he had to say, Matthew?
You think you can catch me? I'm faster than all of you.
But let's face it, you'll never catch me.
Well, no. I suppose that Jesus could have said that to the men that arrested him, but he didn't because he knew that God's timing is perfect.
So what did he say to those guys, Granny?
Hey, Hanny. Oh, well, hi there, kiddos.
Hi.
Just came to bring this back. Well, it's nice to see you all today.
You too.
Carrie, have you met my old friend Vince?
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Missy.
Pleasure to meet you. Mr. Vince is the best. One time he helped me work on my pitch for baseball, and he's like really good.
Well, I don't know about all that. Say, are you kids having fun with your Granny, Hanny?
We're just getting ready for Easter and seeing how important Pilate is in the Easter story.
Oh, that's a good one.
Do you know what Jesus said to the guards that were arresting him in the garden after Judas gave him the kiss?
If memory serves me well, it went something like, "Why are you here? Why are you arresting me? Am I dangerous? Why weren't you arresting me when I had all that time at the temple?" Did I get that just about right?
Close enough, old friend.
You could stay and help Granny tell us the rest of the story, Mr. Vince.
Well, all right, if y'all don't mind.
So what happens next, Granny?
Well, Sweet Pea, Jesus was arrested and taken to the high priest, one of the most important Jewish leaders at that time. Jesus was questioned and accused by many religious officials there. Then, early Friday morning, they took Jesus to Pilate for a trial.
What's a trial?
A trial is where a judge or a group of people decide whether you did something wrong and what kind of punishment you will get.
Like when Mommy said no more iPad after I colored all over the bathroom.
That's similar, Carrie Girl, but in this story, Pilate was like a judge that would decide if Jesus would be killed the way the religious leaders wanted him to be.
Whoa, that's a really big decision.
Yeah, and Pilate didn't want to be the one to make that decision.
That's right, Alex. In fact, when they brought Jesus to Pilate, he tried to send Jesus to King Herod so that Herod would have to decide. Pilate was scared to make this decision.
So then why did he?
Well, let's take a look. Herod came to the same conclusion and sent him back to us. Nothing this man has done calls for the death penalty. Herod sent Jesus back to Pilate because he didn't want to be involved with punishing a man that was innocent.
What does innocent mean?
It means that someone has done nothing wrong.
So did Pilate try to let Jesus go?
Over and over again.
Pilate wanted to let Jesus go, but even after he had soldiers punish Jesus, the religious leaders were stubborn. They wanted him to die.
I only have a little bit of time to fill up more eggs before I have to start getting ready for some fun plans I have for tonight. My friends invited me to an Easter dinner, like Friendsgiving, but in the spring, and I am so excited. Anyways, back to Pilate's part of the Easter story. There was an old tradition for Passover, a Jewish holiday where Pilate would release one prisoner each year. The Jewish people would get to choose which person got released. Good Friday is what we call the Friday before Easter, and that was the day that Pilate hoped he would be able to release Jesus for the Passover tradition. But the people didn't choose Jesus. Here, let me show you. Now, it was the governor's custom each year during the Passover celebration to release one prisoner, anyone the people requested. One of the prisoners at that time was Barabbas. Barabbas was not a nice guy. He'd done a lot of bad things, so Pilate was sure that the people would choose to release Jesus instead of him. But he was wrong. The religious leaders were able to persuade the Jewish people to ask for Barabbas to be released. Pilate tried to ask them, "What should I do with the man you call King of the Jews?" But the people insisted that Pilate should crucify him. Pilate's plan to release Jesus didn't work. Good Friday doesn't seem too good when we look at the terrible stuff Jesus had to go through. I think this part of the Easter story will be hard to tell my grandkids because I remember how upset it made me when I was little. I'll just have to remind my grandkids that the Easter story has a happy ending, just like my grandma did for me.
Granny, I'm not sure I like the Easter story too much. It's too sad.
I thought this part was sad when I was your age too, Carrie, and it is sad.
I don't like thinking about all the pain that Jesus went through either, Carrie, but it's pretty awesome that he did all that just for us.
The way the Easter story ends is really cool, Carrie. Don't worry.
Would you be okay if I kept reading, Missy? As the crowds gathered before Pilate's house that morning, he asked them, "Which one do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called the Messiah?"
Pilate knew that the religious leaders were jealous of Jesus and that he did nothing wrong.
Yep, and then something crazy happened. Just then, as Pilate was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him this message: "Leave that innocent man alone. I suffered through a terrible nightmare about him last night."
So did he let Jesus go?
He sure tried, honey, but the crowds gave him no choice.
Pilate tried everything he could to release Jesus, but the religious leaders were stubborn.
So, if Pilate was in charge, though, how come he couldn't just do what he wanted anyways?
I think he was scared to say no to that big crowd. See, the Passover tradition meant the Jewish people picked a prisoner to let go, and they chose the criminal Barabbas instead.
Okay, now keep reading. Please, Mr. Vince.
You got it, kiddo. Now, remember, Pilate ordered the soldiers to punish Jesus with a whip. What's with her? Oh my, I had a set like that when I was a little boy, but I haven't seen a set like that in years.
Granny has been letting us open the eggs as she tells us the Easter story. Should we open the next one, Granny?
Sure, Matthew. I think that's a great idea.
Here you go, Carrie. It's your turn.
What is it?
It's leather. It's what the whip would have been made out of.
I don't want it.
That's okay, Carrie. We have to wait for this happy ending in this story.
That's right. God's timing is perfect. Sometimes we have to be patient. Let's keep reading.
The soldiers wove a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put a purple robe on him. Hail the King of the Jews, they mocked as they slapped him across the face.
It's okay, Carrie. I don't like this part of the story either.
Pilate tried again to tell the people that he didn't think Jesus was guilty, but they insisted that he needed to be killed. The Jewish leaders replied, "By our laws, he ought to die because he called himself the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he was more frightened than ever.
But why was Pilate scared?
Well, buddy, he knew that Jesus did nothing wrong, which means his choice that he was about to make meant an innocent man was gonna die.
That must have been really hard.
And eventually, Pilate had to give the people what they wanted. Right, Granny?
That's right, sweetie. And he agreed to crucify Jesus.
So when can I open the next egg, Granny?
How about you open that now, Maddie?
Oh, this means that Jesus was crucified. It means that he died on a cross.
Right. And then, even when he was on the cross, the soldiers still made fun of him and mocked him.
Do you want to open up the next egg, Carrie girl?
What's this for?
It's a dice. The guards played a game to see who would win Jesus' clothes.
Jesus sure went through a lot of bad stuff.
It's okay, Carrie. Jesus did it because he knew that saving all of us would be worth it. It's probably Mom. We'll be back to help you set up the Easter hunt, Granny.
Looking forward to it.
And we could talk about the happy ending of the Easter story, too.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye, Carrie. Bye.
And Carrie, your dad will be here soon.
This one won't match. Why did I even buy this? I can't believe this. That won't match either. Oh no, I'm running so late. I love this time of year so much that I accidentally said yes to 2 parties tonight.
6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again.
That's okay though. I'll make it work. I'll show up to one a little early and the other extra late. And don't forget, God's timing is perfect even when